Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
Hey, this is Big Chief, and you're listening to the Bourbon Road. You know what I love to pour in my old fashions is a little maple syrup. Can't be just any maple syrup. It has to be from Seldom Seen Farms up in Ohio. He takes bourbon barrels, pours his syrup in there, and ages it for 6 to 9 months, making for some delicious syrup that you could pour on pancakes. You could pour it on waffles, chicken and waffles like this fat guy likes. But seriously, you want to make a delicious cocktail with some maple syrup and not that old simple syrup. Check out seldomseenmaple.com. Pick up some stuff from there today. We'd appreciate it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
This is the Bourbon Road. And today, Mike, we are at Jephthah Bend Farm. We're getting ready to get our music on.
Yeah.
Who do we have in the house?
Well, we got Taylor Hughes, and she's going to be headlining Bourbon on the Banks October 1st in Frankfort, Kentucky.
And that's at the Goodwood After Party, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I'm looking so forward to that event. We've got a couple events before that, but Bourbon on the Banks is always on my mind.
Yeah. Isn't that a song, Always on My Mind?
Always on. Yeah, I won't sing it.
Yeah.
That would ruin it. That'd ruin the whole show.
No, but yeah, we got a couple events we got coming up. We got USA Cares, obviously, this weekend coming up. We have the Southern Whiskey Society down in Franklin, Tennessee. Both of those events support great causes. The first one, USA Cares, is the gala we're going to be at July 23rd. And then the Southern Whiskey Society, it supports One Generation Away, which gives food to needy folks.
Great event, great people, really looking forward to it. And then, just a short time after all that is Bourbon Heritage Month.
Yeah. You
got the Bardstown Bourbon Festival and Bourbon on the Banks. We're going to be busy.
Just a little bit. We might drink just a little bit of whiskey in that period, but we got some whiskey in our glasses today that Taylor pulled off my shelf.
So she picked a couple of good ones.
She certainly did.
Well, she picked 3 actually. We're planning on 2, but there's a third bottle. We'll get to it at the end.
She saw it hidden up there. She said it was hidden. It's not really hidden. It's just on the back shelf.
Well, Taylor, welcome to the Bourbon Road.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I always find my way around the bourbon shelves. It takes me a minute, but I saw my favorite one, the Knob 12 year, and I was like, oh, we definitely have to have that on there. What are we doing?
Well, that's a great bourbon. The other 2 we'll get to in just a few minutes. Well, we'll get to one of them pretty darn quick, won't we?
Yeah, this is a pretty special bourbon, especially for both of us being veterans. Elmer T. Lee is the first bourbon we're going to drink. Elmer himself was a bombardier in World War II. A lot of people don't know that. And the U.S. Army Air Corps. Before there was an Air Force, there was Army Air Corps, and that's where he served at. Went to UK after he was honorably discharged in 1945. Graduated in 49 from there with an engineering degree and went to work at Buffalo Trace and worked there until 86, where he's the guy that invented Blanton's. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I do love Elmer T.
He used to work with Albert Blanton.
Yeah.
So they knew each other.
Not too long after that, they honored him after he retired with his own bourbon.
That's awesome. I had no idea. I just always drank it,
We always love our brothers and sisters who served.
Yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for those from the greatest generation, those who fought in the Second World War.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing people. All right. Well, I think we should get to the whiskey. What do you say?
Let's do it.
That sounds good to me.
Awesome. Kind of fruity, Mike.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice bourbon and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's subtle, right?
Yeah, it's a subtle burn.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, Mike and I had actually had another bourbon a short time ago before the show. We won't talk about what it was, but it had a little bit more of an impactful flavor on your palate. And this one's a little more soft and sweet and a little fruity, a little caramelly.
Might be closer to ancient age than most people know in Blanton's.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, this is certainly a great bottle to have on the show. We haven't had it on in more than a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
That's what I'm here for, is to bring the old stuff out.
Isn't that another song? It's been a while. Yeah, that is another
I'm sure
song.
it is.
another. It's been a while. Yeah, that's another song. Jim.
Yes.
You just naming all these
I know,
songs,
right?
I'm in that music frame of mind. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him to sing a little bit later.
Oh, that would be a bad mistake.
Enough bourbon and you'll do it, right?
I've seen him sing before karaoke.
Hey, we're all friends here. There's no judgment.
Yeah. I guess I do edit the podcast. I could always take it out later.
Yeah. So Taylor, where are you from?
I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky. So that bourbon runs through my veins. But I live down in the Nashville area, specifically Spring Hill. It's about 40 minutes south of downtown Nashville. But I've been there. It'll be 5 years in December.
You had the itch to go to Nashville.
I did. I've had the itch since I was itty bitty, and no one knew about it till I was probably 18 years old.
Is that when did you pick up a guitar and said, "Hey, I'm going to play a guitar"?
I think I started learning guitar when I was probably around 18. It was, or 17 or 18. It was towards the end of my junior year of high school, beginning of my senior year. So 17, 18 years old. But I'd always loved to sing. And I was always in choir, and we have home videos and stuff of when I was in preschool and I did all the little shows and stuff like that they would host. And there's actually a video of me pushing the girls out of the way so I could make it to the front to sing. Not my proudest moment, but clearly I was like, I'm made for the stage.
We might need a clip of that for
right?
Yeah.
I'm sure my mom has that somewhere. I'm singing like Mary had a baby or something like that. Something that they did. But I was actually really involved in athletics growing up. My dad has this way of forcing me into things that I think I'm going to hate, and then I end up loving them. So when I was in middle school, he was like, "You're going to play a sport." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And he was like, "You are." And he pushed me into volleyball, and I fell in love with it. And I was actually going to go to college on a scholarship, and I blew my knee out my junior year of high school. And that's kind of what led me down the music path. I had always loved singing. You could pretty much find me singing anywhere. I was always involved in choir and stuff. But I never told anyone that's what I wanted to do. It was like a secret dream, I guess. And no one really knew that I could sing. They knew I did choir and stuff, but no one ever really thought anything of it, And I went to my dad and was like, I think I want to learn to play guitar. And he was like, all right, we'll go down to the doo-wop shop and get you lessons. And what's funny is that the day we walk in, my guitar teacher, Polly Felice, who I still work with today, he's a good family friend of ours, is someone that my dad babysat way back in the day. So it was almost like this full circle moment. Like it was kind of meant to be. And I'd been taking lessons with him for, maybe a few weeks, if that. So there was no way I had learned to play guitar yet. And he was like, "Oh, you sing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I dabble in it, I guess." And he was like, "I'm going to take you to Nashville." And he told my parents, and they were like, "What? There's no way she knows how to play guitar. She probably doesn't even know 3 chords." And he was like, "No, your daughter sings." And they thought it was funny. They were like, "No, she doesn't." And what are you talking about? And pretty much the first time I ever really performed and stepped on a stage was down in Nashville. And I think I was probably 18 or 19. I started singing for a TV Comcast down there called Nashville Spotlight. I don't think they have it anymore. But I remember my first performance. I went down there and had a great time. Everyone really loved me, and they came up to my parents and they were like, "Oh, please bring her back." And they were just kind of smiling and nodding, and we left, and they were like, "Were you lip singing?" And I was like, "No, that's me." And they were like, "Oh my God." And that's just kind of how I really got started. And, and they were like, "Okay, well, this is a real thing." And, I started playing out, and I went to college for a little bit and decided I wanted to be a rock star instead. And went to my parents one day and was like, "You know what? I think I'm done with this whole school thing. And, most parents would be like, no, you're not. But my parents were, especially my dad is the one I was kind of scared to tell. And he was like, all right, we're all in. There is no plan B. It's all or nothing, which is pretty cool to have that kind of support. Because I know a lot of artists probably don't have that from their parents because, this is a really difficult job and it's not normal. There's no steady pay. And, it's probably like a 1 in a billion chance, but it's what I love to do. And, they've been supportive ever since. So.
That's a great story. It just occurred to me that how many people tried their hand at the music business because Mama and Papa told them they could sing, right? And maybe they couldn't.
There's a lot of those. You meet a lot of those down in Nashville.
And they get down there and they fall flat on their face because they really don't have the chops for it. Well,
right.
You were just the opposite of that. They had no clue.
They had no idea. Thought I was lip singing.
Wow.
Thought it was all pretend.
What was that? Do you remember that first bar in Nashville that you went to and played? Or
Yeah, it was called the Nashville Palace.
Okay.
And it's still there. It's still hopping. People go there all the time. They have local artists there all the time. They have big acts. It's a great place to go honky tonkin' if you want to go like line dancing. And it's right over next to the Grand Ole Opry in the Opry Hotel.
Yeah.
It's like right in that area. But that's kind of where I claimed I got my start. So
that is such a cool story. Such a cool story.
So was it hard to like remember words and stuff, like the whole song? Because lyrics could be very difficult to learn. And you go to Nashville now and you see almost every artist has a iPad or iPhone in front of them. And I'm like, why do you don't know
it can be really difficult. I know for a lot of the Broadway artists, you're kind of required to know like a billion songs. Like
Sure.
It's insane. I actually have it saved on my tablet of all the songs, and they constantly add stuff. But for me, like remembering lyrics has always kind of come naturally to me. I always bring a tablet with me just in case if like I'm playing a new song that like I haven't, remembered yet, or someone has a request and, I need to look it up because I might not know it. But I think a lot of us, there's something about being a musician that you just kind of, the lyrics just flow in your head and you can't remember anything else. Like you can't remember what you had for breakfast, but you can remember 100 songs.
Yeah. Well, you drink whiskey like it comes natural. Like you said, it's running in your veins in Kentucky. Now your mom and dad are in the room, but I'm going to ask you this. When's that first sip you had of some bourbon?
Ooh, okay. Let's see.
Your dad's over there shaking his head.
Oh, well, he knows. I was raised like a boy and like my dad and I are pretty close. So a lot of my drinking was done at tailgates. So with him, but I was probably a good bourbon, not till I was in my 20s. Now I probably had like E&J or something pretty rough when I was like 15 or 16.
Oh man.
But hey, I kept it together. I was a 4.0 star athlete, had good GPA. I didn't do anything crazy. But I don't think I really truly started appreciating bourbon until I got into probably my mid 20s. My husband is a big like bourbon connoisseur and we have quite a collection at our house. And I actually went bourbon hunting yesterday and got 5 bottles. I called him and he was like, yep, buy that and 3 of those. And I'm like, all right. And I'm sure the guy at the store was like, what are you doing? I was like, I want them all.
Nah,
I don't mess around.
They know what's going on around here.
Right.
They definitely know what's going on.
I think sometimes when women are doing it, they're a little surprised. I go into some places and they're like, oh, do you want this? And I'm like, no. Where are your allocations? Or what do you have hidden in the back? And they're like, oh no, this girl knows what she's talking about. Like,
I don't know that that's the case anymore, just because I think the bourbon community has came so far.
Yeah.
And there's no surprise that women are out there seeking out,
well, maybe like, especially like here in Kentucky, but like down in where I live, they don't really expect girls to be drinking that. And a lot of them are drinking tequila and vodka, which, hey, I like a good tequila. Don't get me wrong. I like me some Casamigos.
Well, speaking of that, sometimes you got to take a break from bourbon.
Right.
What's your other bourbon?
What's my other bourbon?
I think she just said tequila.
Yeah, it's probably tequila. If it's hot outside, like, because I'm not a beer girl. I don't like beer. I don't like seltzers. I'm either liquor or nothing. So, but I do like a good tequila.
And you're drinking at room temperature straight, or are you having it?
I like it chilled.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I typically don't drink like mixed cocktails. I do love an old fashioned though, but obviously that's bourbon or whiskey.
Who doesn't like an old fashioned?
Oh yeah, but they got to be done right. And like, I'm so bougie. I've been spoiled. There's this bar down there in Franklin, Tennessee called Obie Joyful. And I'm really good friends with the bartenders and the manager down there. And they actually let me do one of my photo shoots there. But they make their cocktails like craft. Like it is the correct way. So every time I go in, they're like, you want a smoked old fashioned? And I'm like, yes, I do. You got to have it smoked.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Mike have that in common. He's bougie too.
Oh yeah. You gotta. Well, you just gotta be fancy. I'm one of those people that like, if you can set it on fire like a sidecar, I'm like, yeah, do that. I like the pyrotechnic.
I'm not big into the smoked old fashions. It has to be done right first off.
Mm-hmm.
If they just put the whole glass into a smoking box, the smoke's not going into the whiskey. It's just getting all over your glass, and then next thing you know, you go home and your hand smells like smoke. I don't want that. I want.
Well, they do it right down at OBJ. And then actually, my dad bought us a smoker for at home when we make old fashions at the house, and we'll make our own little fancy concoctions.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Well, he supports your habits.
I know, right? And then, I say that, and then I get a phone call. You better not be drinking. Messes up your vocal cords. And I'm like, I'm fine.
Who else told us that? Somebody else told us that. I think the day after, but not the day before, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've had some artists on that they say they drink bourbon. And then when we sit down to drink whiskey with them, and it's kind of shocking to them, I think. They're like, oh, this is tough right here.
Right. Well, I used to, it's funny. I used to always have a shot with me during my shows, and I would just sip on it throughout the show. So like a 3-4 hour show. And, I would notice that it would just, by the time I was done with the show, it tore up my vocal cords, and my vocal coach was like, you cannot be doing that. So I stopped. And, I'm the bourbon girl. And, every time I go to a show now, my fans that are regulars or have come out to see me, they're like, oh, Taylor, let's buy you a shot. And I'm like, no, I can't drink till after.
Well, how does somebody like let's say Eric Church, who's notorious about drinking Jack Daniels on stage, you ever think that's really Jack Daniels in there? Or is it just
it's probably the Jack. I think it really just depends. Because I know a lot of people like my girl Miranda Lambert. She doesn't drink bourbon on stage. I think she usually has like Tito's vodka on stage. I'm like, I don't know how y'all drink while you're singing, because it dries out your vocal cords. But some people, I guess, are just used to it. And
now I've seen Cody Jinks.
Yeah,
in
Cody
concert.
Always.
He loves Maker's Mark, and he came out in the crowd, brought it out in the crowd, and was drinking with people. And I was like, what is he doing?
Well, if you talk to them after, now I could be wrong, but I bet if you talk to them the next day, their vocal cords are probably hurting. Yeah. But I'm also super sensitive and have a ton of food allergies and whatnot. So
I didn't see her have any food allergies.
Oh no, we put those aside today. Usually like my diet is very like so weird. I never go out to eat anywhere because there's just so many things I'm not supposed to eat. But when you told me you were making barbecue, I was like, I got to do it. I got to eat it. I'm going to eat it and I'm going to enjoy it. And we're just going to drink bourbon. It's going to be okay.
Bourbon fixes it all. Though.
It does, though.
It does.
Alcohol kills anything bad, germs, food allergies, all that. It's like out the door.
So you go to Nashville. What was the first song that you wrote for yourself or recorded?
Ooh, first song I wrote when I moved to Nashville. I'd started writing before I moved there. But the first song I wrote, it was probably, I do have a song called Buzz Off Me that I wrote with a girlfriend of mine, Stephanie Joyce. That, and then a song that I'm actually going to play you all here in a little bit was one of the first songs I wrote when I moved there. It's called Praying to the Whiskey, which was my sophomore single. And I actually wrote that with my dad. And that was, 5 years ago, almost.
Wow, 5 years ago you wrote that song.
Yeah, that's what's funny about releasing music is a lot of the time these songs that you all are hearing on the radio, they were written 5-10 years ago. Like they're typically not just new songs. So a lot of artists, when they go on tour and they're trying to promote a song, they're probably sick of it because they've been playing it for 10 years. Like it just now hit the radio. And so I mean, I love playing this song. It's a special song to me, and it was, you know, one that I wrote with my dad. So it was kind of cool to release it as obviously new music for me, but kind of introducing my dad as a songwriter as well. But yeah, those two are what's coming to mind right now. I've written so much stuff that it all kind of gets lost in the mix.
It sounds kind of like a song that'll go real good with this Elmer T. Lee.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, let's hear it, Taylor.
Yeah, I could do that for you. All right. So this is my sophomore single, Praying to the Whiskey. You guys can find it literally everywhere, iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, those four apostles jaded my soul. That's pretty rough company for a Catholic girl like me to keep. But they're alright by me. My mama would fade if she knew these things. I better die to see. What can I say? God made me this way. You better pray for me. One bread in the rosary, it just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's cut that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my knees, but tonight you can find me praying to the whiskey. See the man behind the bar, well, he's my preacher. Till he yells, let's call him a sinner. But I don't mean no harm. I'll be confessing till the liquor's all gone. I'm ready the rosary, it just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's cut that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my knees, but tonight you can find me praying to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah. Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, Mother Mary, Saint Martha. I'm ready the rosary, it just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's cut that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my Sunday morning I'll be on my knees, praying to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah. Praying to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah. Praying to the whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I think a little bit of that smoked bourbon got in that voice. Right?
A little bit of that grit. Yeah. You know, I find that I have, when I'm writing songs like that, I'm like, oh, you know, I get inspirations from stuff I've done in the past. And there have been quite a few times that I was praying to the whiskey, you know, a lot of tailgates, you know, back in the day, back in college. And
Now, do you have an artist that has influenced you say it influenced you a lot?
Yeah. I love Miranda Lambert. She is probably my favorite artist of all time. I get a lot of my influence from her. Ashley McBryde is another artist that I love. A little bit of Chris Stapleton. Of course, you got to have a Kentucky artist in there. But a little bit of Leonard Skinner. I love me some Southern rock. And I don't know if y'all know who Susan Tedeschi is. She's from a Tedeschi Trucks band. They're more of a big band kind of blues thing. And that's a band that my husband actually got me hooked on. And he tells me all the time, he's like, your voice reminds me of Susan. He tells me, you're a blues artist, you're not a country artist. And I'm like, oh, okay. But growing up, I grew up on country music and Southern rock and blues, and it was always playing in the house. And that's kind of just, I like to take bits and pieces and kind of mix it together and make my own thing.
So your voice is very rich and deep, and you kind of have a low register.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, and it's kind of unique. And
oh, thank you. That's the number one thing you want to be in this business is unique.
Yeah.
I think them artists you named, Chris Stapleton, people were like, where'd he come from? But he had been around forever.
Yeah. Writing music for tons of artists.
For artists that people really would just blow their mind, right?
Yeah.
But his voice.
Oh, it's incredible.
I've heard people are like, he's not very entertaining because he sits up there and plays guitar. And I was like, well,
he's pretty entertaining.
I'm not paying to see him dance.
Right.
I want to hear his story. He tells a story in his music. And I think that's what's so great about music. You can get a story out of it and stuff.
Absolutely.
That brand of the whiskey, we've all been there, right, Jim?
Yeah.
A time or two, right?
I mean, I probably prayed a little bit to 10 high before and said I would never drink that again.
But you haven't prayed to Crow yet.
No, I never prayed to Crow before.
Maybe one day.
Old Crow makes that chili taste pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That's my cooking bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
So how'd you come up with Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow?
What's funny is that it's actually a line my dad came up with. Because like I said, we wrote this together and we were sitting there talking about, obviously our love for bourbon and whiskey. And I think it was around tailgating season 2. And we were kind of just laughing about, back in college when him and I were both in college, the things that we did and things that we were drinking. And it's kind of, how we got different ideas for the lyrics for it. And it's kind of based on the fact that I'm Catholic and I like to drink, right? But we were trying to think of, the apostles. So like, okay, well, what are bourbons that have like actual people names, and so, or I guess that would make sense, like people names or whatever. And he started just listing them, and I was like, hey, that kind of flows. And it's kind of just how he came up with that. And it's actually, I have merch that has the Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, those 4 apostles jaded my soul, and people love it. They're like, I need it. And I'm like, hey, maybe one of those bourbons have jaded your soul. So, and
that's pretty cool.
Probably a time or two for me.
Yeah.
Right. But my dad, it's funny writing with him because we've written a ton of stuff together. It's the only one I've released so far. And he's such a great writer. And for me, my strength has always been like melody when I come into a write. And I always joke around. I'm like, he can't carry a tune in a bucket, but he can write. People, where'd you get your voice then? My mom is a closet singer. She won't sing. But before I existed, she was in a band and she played all the time. And I try to get her to sing. Maybe a few cocktails in her and we'll get her to sing later.
Well, we could open up another mic, I think, if we need to.
Absolutely.
We got one.
No.
We actually got another mic and everything, headphones and everything.
And she had no idea that that's what we were doing. Like this is actually meant for her to sing some harmonies.
She's like, this is a setup. This is
yes. She's like, get me out of here now.
So when was the first time they heard you like a record on the radio or something? Do you remember that day?
I can't remember the specific day, but I remember the day that where we were. I actually went into 92.9. I don't think it's called the Bear anymore. What is it? 92.9. Nash FM radio is what it's called now. It's been called like a billion different things, but it was here in Lexington. And Deidre Ransdell is actually the one who played my song first on the radio. And I brought her 3 singles I had ready to go. And she played Good Taste, and she was like, this has got to be the song that you start off with. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I remember being in the studio and I was doing a live interview, and it was funny because, they can only play so many songs throughout the day. And it's really hard to get on the radio because they have their favorites. And for an independent artist to get on there, it's even more, it's even harder. And we were in there and she was like, we're going to take Cole Swindell out and we're going to put you in. And I was like, I just took Cole Swindell's spot on the radio. I was like, how cool is this? And this was my first single too. And it was right in the middle of the pandemic. So like I couldn't go out touring to promote it. So a lot of the promoting I was doing was over like Facebook Live and Instagram Live. But I had so many friends that like would go out to their car and send me videos like, I'm listening to your song on the radio. And I still have it like saved on my phone. And this was back in 2020 when I first released my single Good Taste. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like how cool is this? This is what I've been dreaming of doing forever. And have, my song debut in my hometown, which I never thought I'd do. It was really cool. And I don't know if y'all know who Cole Swindell is, but he's a huge artist, huge writer. And I was like, okay, well, sorry, Cole, today's my day. But,
so how big of a part does the whole social media thing play for you?
Oh, it is such a huge deal these days. It's the music business is so different now than how it was in the past. In the past, probably back in the 90s when it was golden country music. Record labels would develop artists, and that's how you discovered new artists. And these days, it's total opposite. You already have to be developed. You have to have your own brand going, your own followers. You pretty much have to be your own label for like an actual label to come to you and be like, okay, now I want to put some money into you, because they don't have to do all the hard work. They're just, oh, this person's making pretty good money. How can we, reap some of the benefits kind of thing? So these days the numbers on social media, and I'm so old school, I'm like, man, they came out with another one. Like when they came out with TikTok, I was like, please don't make me do this. Please let this be a fad. And it is not. It's still around. So I broke down and I got one. And but I'm such a an Instagram girl, and like Facebook, that's where a lot of my following is those two. But they're, when you're going to book shows or you're getting PR, it's, well, what are your numbers? And you're like, can't you just listen to my music first? And then, we'll talk about the boring numbers. But it's a huge thing. And it's how, you get big booking agencies to want to work with you, because they want to make sure that they can book you outside of your normal areas. It's how radio is like, well, why should I play your song? No one knows who you are, or you've only got 10,000 and this person's got 100,000. Why should we play you over them? And I hate it, because it's almost lost like the art is like not special anymore. It's all about numbers, and it's not about like storytelling and being talented. Not that people aren't talented, but like it's almost like people want Insta fame and stuff rather than connecting with an artist. And that's why I love playing. I love being on the road and meeting new people. And, at my shows, I go talk to people before my shows. I talk to them during my shows. I talk to them after my shows, because for me, like that's what makes making music so special, is that you're connecting with people on a totally different level. You could be totally different in your beliefs and your thoughts, but there's something about music that just brings people together no matter what. And, I will be a slave to social media if they want me to be. I love doing the Instagram thing, like I said. And I always do like Facebook Lives and stuff, which, there are good things about social media. I've been able to grow my following over in the UK and Australia and Ireland. And I have people, constantly, when are you coming over here to do a tour? And I'm like, oh, I'd love to. Can you help me? Like, I don't know where to go. I've never been over there. Like, the only place I've been is like Cancun. Like, I've never been over the UK or anything. But social media has been good for that because you're able to reach people all over the world. Whereas, back in the day, you couldn't do that.
It's kind of put artists more in control of their brand.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. So there are absolutely good things about it. You're able to release music whenever you want to release. You don't have to listen to a label when, sometimes when you're signed to a label, they pick what you're going to do, what you're going to wear. And being an independent artist, one of our strengths is that we make our own rules and we make our own decisions for the most part, and we can release however many songs we want. We can dress the way we want. If that's what our fans like, then like that's what we're going to give them, and I think that's been a really good part of the social media growth and just technology period. I'm lucky if I can work my cell phone, y'all, but there are some things about it that there are good things. So
yeah, that social media thing, sometimes even for us, it's the same way. People say, hey, what's your numbers? And that's what always with PR. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, our numbers are true, and
right.
they'll be like, well, this person has this. And I'm like, okay, well, look at those numbers for totality and look at ours, and you'll see that we have real whiskey drinkers.
Right.
We don't have fake followers, and we've built it organically. And I noticed your social media accounts are the same way. You're building organically, and it must be tough to try to compete with that, where you can look at somebody else's stuff and you're like, I know better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you're playing on the same stage as them, right, and you're playing at the same venues, you're doing just as good.
Right. Yeah.
And then be like, I played this venue with you opened up at the Amp for Dustin Collins, or I'm playing Bourbon on the Banks October 1st.
Right.
That other artist, they're not playing that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's the thing is that, you can really get caught in the whole comparing yourself to other people. It is, especially in the music industry, it's constant because people only post their highlight reels, and you have to remember that like some of these people, their followers aren't real. A lot of them have been bought, which is kind of, I hate to say that, but you can kind of tell sometimes when people have bought followers. Or, a part of growing organically is that these people that are following you are actually true fans. Like they're coming to your shows, they're buying your merch, they're listening to your music, they're sharing your stuff. And that's what's important, is having people that actually truly believe in you. They're not just following you and then they don't even, they click follow, but then they don't even pay attention to what you're doing at all. And they're not even listening to your music. They couldn't even tell you who you are. They're like, oh, I think I remember following them, or it's a bot, like it's not even an actual person, and so I think, growing organically like that is important. I think, yeah, sometimes we get caught up. I know I do constantly. I get caught up in they have a lot of followers and like, I'm doing the same thing as them, but are those followers real? Like, are they really like true fans of theirs? Are they supporters? Like, I know that my following is, and that I've worked so hard to build and still trying to, build as much as I can. And so you just kind of have to take a step back and be like, stay in your lane, put those blinders on and just focus on you.
Well, Taylor, I noticed that you haven't drank a whole lot of that Elmer.
I like to enjoy a good bourbon. I'm not going to throw it back like some people might,
Well, Jim and me didn't throw it back. We just sipped on it.
Oh, no, not you all. Just, I have some friends that might just throw it back,
we have friends that throw it back too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. It is your glass of whiskey and you need to drink it your way. But
now if we're ready to like do another one, I'll throw it back.
Well, I'd say we're ready to do another song, and I'd like to hear that first single that you had.
Good Taste? Yeah, absolutely. I can do that for y'all.
I mean, it's kind of Good Taste like this, Elmer T.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll go to break right after that song.
Yeah.
What do you say? Okay,
let's do it.
All right, this is my debut single, Good Taste. I like 'em down home, I like 'em mellow, the kind I don't take back to mama. I like 'em rough around the edges, whiskey soaked. That good midnight tenor that soothes my soul. Boom, stomping good time, I know when to last. But I fall for the kind of guy makes me raise my glass. Play my heartache in the morning on the wailing in the Jones. Play my wedding, leave me hanging on that Copperhead Road. I'm a good-hearted woman, loves a good time, and God went away. I forgive them all that walk the line. It's a broken record played again and again. I play my good taste in music for my bad taste in bed. I like the way that they make it laid back. Little smoke, a little drink, never hurt, yeah. Call me an addict, it ain't a habit. When it gets stuck in my head, I gotta have it. I blame my work in the morning on the wailing in the Jones. Blame the wedding, leave me hanging on that Copperhead Road. I'm a good-hearted woman, loves a good time, and God blame away. I forgive them all that walk the line. It's a broken record played again and again. I blame my good taste in music for my bad taste in bed. Decisions, I ain't ready to quit. I ain't ready to quit. Blame my heartache in the morning on the wailing in the Jones. Blame the wedding, leave me hanging on that Copperhead Road. I'm a good-hearted woman, loves a good time, and God went away. I forgive them all that walk the line. It's a broken record played again and again. I play my good taste in music for my bad taste in bed. Ooh, play my good taste in music. Play my good taste in music. Play my good taste in music for my bad taste in bed.
Yeah, there's some attitude in that song.
Just a little, you know.
All right, Mike. Well, what do you say we take a short break, and when we come back, more whiskey, more music.
Yeah, let's do it. Man, Jim, you know what I've really been enjoying lately?
Oh, you're going to tell me.
Some of that Seldom Seen Farms maple syrup that's been aged in bourbon barrels. It is absolutely delicious, not only in a cocktail, but you can cook with it, right?
You can. You absolutely can. Now, Mike, Kevin just sent me a new shipment, so I got a little bit more. And I've been making some beef jerky lately.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I know you're the meat master, but I tried my hand at it. I said, I want to make some beef jerky. And I've got a pretty decent beef jerky recipe. And it's got a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of Worcestershire, a little bit of, onion powder, garlic powder, those kind of things. But I always put brown sugar in it. Well, this time Kevin sent me a bottle of his granulated maple sugar.
Wow.
And I decided that I was going to substitute the maple sugar for the brown sugar. Oh, game changer. Let me tell you.
Total game changer, huh?
Total game changer. Some of the best beef jerky you've ever had. So I'm going to make another batch here in about a week, and I'll be sure to get you some.
Man, that sounds delicious. Vivian took, and we just got an air fryer like most people got these days, right? And she took and soaked fresh pineapple in that maple syrup and then put it in the air fryer, and it kind of crisped up a little bit.
Oh, sounds good.
It was just magically delicious. And people probably wonder why we love it so much. Kevin competed in the Maple Festival last year, 2021, and he was named grand champion. That's saying something.
So Seldom Seen Farms, grand champion of the 2021 Maple Syrup Festival.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
You're going up against some heavy hitters in maple syrup. And I know we're talking about just the syrup, but, that's something to be proud of. Hats off to you, Kevin, for winning that. Kevin's also competing in a couple other competitions. Make sure you check out his website. Check out his social media on Instagram and Facebook. You won't be disappointed. If you want to buy something from him, where can they go, Jim?
You can go to seldomseenmaple.com. And Kevin and his crew, they've got a great website, very easy to navigate. They got all their products on there. You can buy their maple syrup by the bottle. You can buy it by the case. You can buy that sugar. Oh my goodness, Mike, that stuff is so good. And they've got some other gift sets there too. So you definitely want to check it out.
Well, he's also going to be in some distilleries pretty shortly here. Some distilleries that I love and I know you love. He's going to be down Leaper's Fork. You could find a syrup down there aged in their barrels. Treaty Oak down in Dripping Springs, Texas. I was just out there. His syrup's going to be there.
Awesome.
And at Garrison Brothers in Texas, if you think you love some maple syrup, make sure you go into Garrison Brothers and pick up a bottle from them also. Kevin appreciated it. I know he loves people. You're supporting a local farmer, a local product, a small family. This is no factory place that's putting out maple syrup, right, Jim?
This is a good man doing good work.
Yeah, gotta love it. Well, make sure you check out his site, like Jim said, seldomseenmaple.com. Pick up a bottle today.
All right, we are back from our little break there. We had to finish off our Elmer T. Lee and get a few drinks of water. We got to hydrate.
Hydration, that's important.
And we're back with Taylor Hughes. Great first half. Wonderful music. You've got some more for us, I think.
I do. I'm over here babysitting my Elmer T. Don't worry, I'll get on to the next one.
You got two glasses there.
Hey, I'm double fisting. Here we go. It's a party. It's Saturday. Like, I'm not working. We're having a good time, right?
We've been having a great music conversation, right? We've
Absolutely
talking about all kinds of artists. In your last song, though, I noticed all these other songs in that song, but the one that stuck out to me amongst everything was a little Steve Earle in there. I heard Copperhead Road.
Yeah.
Used to be one of my favorite songs, but I heard somebody not too long ago singing that, and I was like,
it's a classic.
Steve Earle would be dying right now,
right?
The way they were singing it. So.
I feel like that is the song that I hear whenever I go to a honky tonk. Like, someone is always playing that song, even not a honky tonk. Like, someone always yells at, play that song. And the band's like, okay. But it's such a fun one. You can dance to it. Like, I love to dance. I'm all about the line dancing. I might look like a fool, but like, I'll still do it.
Maybe that's what I was thinking, that people were line dancing to that song.
Yeah.
And Steve would probably be just dying because people are line dancing, because he definitely not a line dancer.
Right.
I mean, he was like, to me, I thought in the 80s, I thought Steve Earle was going to be it.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude's going to make it. And that was it.
Hey, sometimes that happens, but that's a pretty popular song. So he's got that.
Right? Well, he's a great
you can't
songwriter.
take that away from him.
Yeah.
Mike, I've seen you dance a few times, but I don't know that I've seen you in a line dance before. How's your line dancing skills?
I've never been into that. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm a Texas boy, and we got that step and a half to step, two step, but the two step. That's it.
How's your wobble? I'm the wobble queen.
I don't even know what a wobble is.
You don't know what the wobble is? Oh, if you go on my TikTok, it's probably my most viewed video of me wobbling in the middle of a pool at a resort in Mexico.
Oh, I've wobbled across the pool before.
They asked me if I wanted to work there, and I was the person that would start the dance every single day at the pool. And they were like, oh, where's Taylor? And they dragged me out to the middle of the pool because there was like a platform in the middle of the pool, and they turned on the song, and I was like, here we go. And I am now the wobble girl.
Yeah, I think you got that wrong, Mike. You thought she said waddle.
Yeah, no,
waddle like a duck.
Waddle. Yeah, I mean, probably after a few drinks, I'm waddling, but the wobble, like, I mean, wobble, baby, wobble. I know.
I'm pretty positive in the pool, you could see the wear marks in the pool for me back and forth across the pool.
It's between your spot in the bar.
Yeah.
He's got his spot, right?
Oh, you always have to have like a spot, especially when there's a bar in the pool.
Yeah.
Why leave?
Well,
Like,
he
you
is
don't
the
even-
mayor of the pool. So
Everybody's going to know me by 7 days. You're going to know who I am.
It kind of sounds like me. Everyone knows me because I'm the wobble girl, and you're the bar guy, and so like I feel like we could team up though. You gotta have
Yeah,
you have to have liquor to do the wobble, probably.
Well, hey, there's plenty of that in Mexico.
well, speaking of liquor,
yeah.
Speaking of liquor, that's a good segue. What do we have in our glass, Mike?
We got some old Weller Foolproof.
Yeah.
This is one of the Wellers I haven't had. I haven't had this one, and I haven't had the orange label.
What do you know about Weller?
What do I know about it? I know it's tasty, and I know I got lots of it on my shelf at my house.
This guy was famous right here. This is
I'm still learning.
like the grandfather, the Mac Daddy of weeded bourbon. There would be no Pappy Van Winkle that these people were buying today without W.L. Weller.
That's true. You know, I actually prefer a Weller over a Pappy.
I mean, people just don't know. There will be no Maker's Mark. There will be no larceny. There will be no old Fitz.
I do like some larceny. The what is it? The barrel proof.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. They make those for me, old fashions, and they don't tell me they're doing that. And I'm like, woo! And they're like, Taylor, you're feeling good. And I'm like, yes, I am. Like,
Yeah, I think Weller's whiskey more or less fueled the West, right? I mean, his barrels were all over the West, and they had that big green print on them.
Put a green thumbprint on there to honest whiskey. He wanted people to know it was real whiskey and stuff. And back in the day, people would doctor up their whiskey, right?
yeah.
They call it rot gut for a reason, right, Jim?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
They'd put spit in it or chewing tobacco.
That's
or
all right.
whatever.
We don't need to go there. You know?
Well, that's what
We
they
don't
put
need to
in
go
there,
in
though.
that depth.
I know, but not today's whiskey though.
Not today's whiskey, though.
Yeah.
This whiskey right here is
That is, I've got to say, this is really good. And I
This
haven't
is
had this one.
finer than a feather.
This, and I have the CYPD, and I like this better than the white label.
Yeah.
And y'all already know what my favorite is, the Knob 12, and this is competing with it.
Well,
Well, this bottle right here, I've been hanging on this thing for a minute now.
Well, if you don't want it, I'll take it.
Nah,
I'll take it right off your hands.
me and you'd had a scrap out
$2.
here.
I'll give you $2.
Me and you would scrap, and Woodrow, the whiskey dog, wouldn't have none
Oh
of it.
Lord.
well, this is definitely a good Mike. This was a pick from a little way back, but it's called the Kraken, and we've had it on the show a few times. But it's always good to pull this out, and I'm glad you've still got some of it.
Yeah, we just
I'm
had this
glad
on
you
the show
have
not
too.
too long ago. We talked about it, whether this whiskey had went bad or not. Now, I don't think it's went bad. I don't know. Does it taste bad to you, Jim?
It tastes pretty good to me.
No, it tastes pretty darn good.
It
tastes
like
pretty good.
The Weed King of Kentucky says it tastes like heaven.
Yeah.
That's a song too, isn't it? Heaven.
Yes, it is. Jason Aldean just did a cover of that song. That's an old classic.
So, do you like your whiskey high proof?
I'm not gonna lie, I do.
Yeah.
Can I handle it sometimes? Probably not, but that's fine.
Did you hear?
I like to take risks.
Yeah. Well,
Be
there's
wild.
there's definitely a risky bottle in Tennessee right now because Jack Daniel's just put out a 153 proof bottle. I think it was.
I feel like I had
153
that
proof.
Was
the
that some
other
like Coy
day.
Hill?
Oh my goodness. No, I don't have any details on it, but I got the press release on it. But
Ooh, that the Knob 12 120 proof I like a lot too, and it's hot.
yeah.
And even my husband's like, I can't believe you like that, and I'm like, it's so good. But he's kind of a sissy, I like it spicy. I like it hot, and he's like,
Is he drinking
no.
White Claws or something?
That's funny you say that. He loves White Claws. In the
Ugh.
summertime, he says, ain't no laws when you're drinking White Claws. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know I married a girl, but that's fine.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just kidding. A lot of people like them. But for me, I just, like I said, I don't like seltzers. I don't like beer. I don't like any of that stuff. If I'm drinking, it's liquor.
The funny thing about it is you don't realize how big that business is, but I would venture to say that the White Claw business is probably big enough that they could probably sell that business and take that money and buy every bourbon distillery in the world.
Probably. They probably
They're
could.
huge.
I don't know
just-
about that.
I
That's
don't-
pushing a little bit, Jim. That's sacrilegious.
we,
Jesus.
we won't let them in to do it. We won't let them do that.
Sometimes you get surprised by that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you remember when when Kmart went bankrupt and they sold a third of their stores and they took the money and bought Sears.
So you're saying
like,
that
whoa.
people that
I
bought,
do remember that.
the people that bought Bardstown Bourbon Company really own White Claw, and Bardstown bought Green River Distillery, and they're just going to start making White Claws at all those.
Careful. You know, this is how you start rumors.
I know.
There's
man.
gonna be like a White Claw flavored bourbon or like a little mix like cocktail you'll be able to buy.
Oh my goodness.
I just
Shame.
I
think,
can hear it tomorrow. Did you hear the Bourbon Road?
right?
Guess what's going to happen?
We've got all the the gossip, right?
Gonna be no more bourbon in Kentucky.
Oh my goodness.
It's all White Claws.
There's a song in that right there.
There probably
Big Chief
is.
done drank it all.
I think there's a song, All the Bourbon in Kentucky, right?
All the bourbon
All
in
the
Kentucky.
bourbon.
Yeah. There is
Everyone,
that.
write this down. We gotta write a song here later. Take notes.
What if you got a song that you've been working on lately?
Yeah, actually, I have a song that a friend of mine's getting ready to cut, and I might cut my own version. We'll see. But it's called "Jesus in Jail." It's probably one of my favorite songs that I've written since I moved to Nashville, and it's definitely it was an idea I brought to the right. And even the first lyric, it is dead on me. Maybe not today, but back in the day, that I could play for you guys. But it's so it's very much me, and it's very it's a funny song. But it's edgy, which is my thing, that sassy, edgy kind of thing. But it's probably one of my favorites right now in my catalog. And my friend Crystal King is cutting it as well. And
those are some of the things you can do when you're an independent, right?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, and that's what's kind of cool is, we were talking about Chris Stapleton earlier. He wrote Whiskey and You for Tim McGraw. And then, years later, he went and cut it himself. And now there's two different versions out there, right? And another song, Mama's Broken Heart, Casey Musgrave wrote that. Miranda Lambert cut it. And then now there's a version that Casey put out there. But you listen to them, they're almost completely different. You don't even realize they're the same song. And that's what's really cool about, being an independent artist is that you can put your own spin on things and, you and your friend can release the same song and it sounds like two totally different things, or.
Well, now you've had a little bit of that Weller.
Yes.
Full proof, little
Now-
fire in the belly.
Now I'm feeling real good.
Yeah.
She's real ready for that.
I'm loosening up and I'm ready
Jill
to go.
and Jesus. Well, can we hear that song?
Absolutely. All right. This is Jesus in Jail.
Came rolling into that church pew like a cloud of smoke. I was out all damn night doing God only knows. Never even made it home when last night's hair and a second coat of that carbon black mascara. Lord bless my soul. Some guilty charge, never thought to be a saint. My heart's a little lost, so I came here today to bow my head and make the cross, sending up my one phone call. Hope the Lord will pay my bill, 'cause hell, I'm somewhere between Jesus and jail. If I take an extra sip, like communion wine, the Holy Ghost might save my sins or kill this hangover of mine. My rowdy ways have flashed a few blue lights. Come Judgment Day, gonna need an alibi, 'cause I'm guilty as charged, never claimed to be a saint. My heart's a little lost, so I came here today to bow my head, make the cross, sending up my one phone call. Hope the Lord good old-fashioned sinner. So Lord, I surrender. 'Cause I'm guilty as charged, never claimed to be a saint, and my heart's a little lost. So I came here today to bow my head and make the cross, sending up my word phone call. Hope the Lord will pay my bill. 'Cause hell, I'm somewhere between. I'm somewhere between. I'm somewhere between Jesus and jail. Jesus in jail. Jesus in jail. I'm somewhere between Jesus and jail.
Hey. That's good stuff.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still there. No.
You're still there,
I'm
Jim?
still trying to get out of there.
Sometimes we're in wife jail.
Always in wife jail.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Look,
Yeah.
your dad's back there. Like, yep.
I put my husband there sometimes, you know?
Yeah. It's better just to keep us there and let us out once in a while when
Right.
we're like really good.
You know, a nice pair of shoes always fixes things, you know? So maybe it's just buy a nice little gift, you know?
That's the trick.
It is the trick.
Shoes.
I'm letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how you do it. I'm totally kidding. Don't buy your wives. It's not.
I could never buy a pair of shoes for her that she would like. I mean, there's no way I could pick out those shoes.
Boots. You buy boots.
Buy boots.
But even then, I don't.
You can't go wrong with boots, Jim.
You can't. My husband bought me these boots actually. And you know how I got these? Funny story. Involves bourbon. We were at our favorite bar, OBJ, down in Franklin, Tennessee. And he had a few cocktails in them. And I was on my phone online shopping at the bar. And I was like, do you like these? And he's like, yeah, those are cool. And I was like, man, I'd really love these. And he had, you know, he was feeling good because he had a few drinks and he was like, oh, babe, I'll buy those for you. I was like, I need to get you drunk more often. Right? They were only $60. Not like they were crazy. Because usually I'm like, buy these. He's like, those are $500. I'm like, but they'll look so good on stage. He's like, no. But that's the trick is you get them a little, you know, a little liquored up and then they buy you a pair of shoes.
But see, you picked them out. See, that's where I would go wrong because we went boot shopping in Nashville together. Remember that?
Yeah.
You remember how long it took to get a pair of boots
For you?
for Melody?
You got to pick
Did
the
she buy
right
boots
one.
down there?
Yeah. At the end of the day,
He's like, we were there for so long. I don't remember.
I don't remember because I was looking at boots myself, Jim. So, you know,
she knew exactly
like you said, I'm
what she
bougie.
wanted. Yeah, you're bougie.
So I didn't care about her boots. I was trying to find myself a new pair of boots.
You can't go wrong with a good pair of cowboy boots.
That's right.
That's
And
true.
Nashville's got all kinds of boot stores.
Oh, they're all
so-
over the place. It's
yeah.
hard to pick.
And you wouldn't even try on hats.
Well, I got a big head, so it's hard to find a hat to fit this head. You know, if I got a hooey hat, I'm good.
What's a hooey hat?
Hooey. You don't know a hootie? Hooey?
Oh,
Not a hootie.
hootie?
Hooey.
No, not
Hooey.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's why I was
Hootie
like
Hooey.
Jerry Strucker.
It's a hooey hat.
What is that?
I don't know. It's just a ball cap. You know, it says hooey on it. I don't know. It's a Texas hat company. I like them. They
okay.
fit my head. They got
I'm going to have to look this
all
up
kinds
now.
but I like them.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite caps to wear.
I love a good baseball cap.
I don't have enough baseball caps, I don't think.
That sounds like me with my shoes. I go and buy more shoes and my husband's like, where are you even going to put those? There's no more room in the closet. And I'm like, well, we can move some of your stuff out.
We should go shop
Like-
together. I don't have enough shoes either. So
Oh, I probably have more boots than I do like clothing. And it's always like, well, what are you going to wear? I don't know, but my shoes are going to look real good. Like,
that's what it's all about right there.
Yeah, I'm not bougie at all, so I need just a couple of drawers in one of
Just
the
a couple.
dressers, like, and right now I have like 10% of the closet,
10%.
like maybe 10%.
maybe.
It's a walk-in, and I bet I got 2 feet of it, 3 feet of it.
That's it.
That's it.
We got separate closets in our bedroom.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I took the woman's closet.
Oh,
See, bougie.
How does your wife feel about that?
Why?
Or is she like pretty like low key, low
I'm
maintenance?
twice the size of her, so I got bigger
Your
clothes.
clothes need more.
I got big feet, so my boot collection takes up a lot.
I think my husband has like 3 pairs of shoes and that's it.
Wow.
And then you go to my side and it's just like boots galore and it's gorgeous. It's like a shrine. I put them all up for display. They're all set a different way. So like you can go in and like enjoy them. Like sometimes I go in my closet and I just sit there and I just kind of look at them.
Oh my goodness. With a glass of bourbon.
Yeah. So as I drink my bourbon, my old fashioned, I just sit there and I'm like, look at all these beautiful shoes.
Now, I'll tell you what boots are good for Nashville. When we come back from Nashville, we always have a bunch of whiskey with us. And a whiskey bottle will fit perfectly inside a boot and
you
protect
hide
it.
those suckers in there. That's right.
Not hide. I'm not hiding.
Oh, you're not
nothing.
hiding. Oh.
You're protecting it.
I'm protecting it.
Oh, are they good for that?
He's got 4 or 5 pair of boots.
I always take 4 or 5 pair of boots.
10 bottles of whiskey that he's bringing back from Nashville.
Yeah.
So-
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
You know, if we
love
go
that.
to Nashville for 2 days, I'm going to take about 5 pair of boots with me because you
One for each outfit.
don't know what you're going to have to wear.
Exactly. That's true. If you're going to like a show, you might need a dressier boot. Or if you're going down to Broadway, you definitely want to bring a pair that you don't mind having something spilt on them.
Now that right there, that's super offensive to me when somebody steps on my boot
Oh,
or
yeah. You don't want that.
touches my boot or pees on my boot.
Peas on your boot? Is this
Oh,
is
I've
there
had
a
somebody
story
pee-
behind
It's
this?
Printer's Alley, yeah.
I love Printer's Alley. No one's ever peed on me in Printer's Alley.
No, not in the alley, but I've had somebody pee in my boot in a bar before. And I'm some guy, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you're peeing all over my boots." And he's like, "Good Lord, you're a big man." And I was like, "Yeah, we're about to find out right now."
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
Peed all over my boots.
Why are you peeing in the middle of a bar?
Well, not in the bar, in the men's bathroom. Some
I
men's.
thought you were like at the bar, like ordering a drink, and you look down, and you're like, man, you're peeing on my shoe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, dang, I've never been to this bar before.
And
Like,
drinking in Nashville affects your aim just a little bit, I think.
I could imagine.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really have that problem.
I don't want to
but
say that wasn't in Nashville. I won't even tell you where that bar was, but it's
On the
The bar was a
outskirts.
trough with ice in it,
Oh,
or the
bar,
the urinal.
the bathroom.
I've been to places like that before.
Yeah.
I've heard of these kinds
Yeah.
of bathrooms.
But peeing on my boots are. We were talking about Brent Cobb, and we went to see Brent Cobb in Louisville at this little Zanza bar.
Yeah.
They're known for their pinball machines in there, but they got a room back there. They pretty good sized room for concerts and stuff. Brent Cobb's in there playing, and my wife had just got these brand new boots. We got them out in New Mexico.
Oh, that's a good spot. to get
Super
boots.
nice boots. And this girl was stepped all over her boots, and my wife, I could see her face like, "Hey, you're gonna mess my boots up." And I looked down at that girl's boots on. I was like, "Yeah, she just doesn't care about life." Her
Right.
boots were trashed, and I was like,
Oh no.
"Not like she come off farm, like she don't take care of her boots."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Man,
There's about
Because
to
you
be
don't
a
have to
fight.
spend a lot of money, but you do need to take care of what you got.
well, you take care of those boots." But you know what? Those boots. My wife we went out and went to a Kip Moore concert at Louisville Palace, and she had too many drinks.
Oh no.
This seems to be
She's
a
calling
recurring
you out.
theme that you keep bringing up.
Yeah. Well, she actually peed in the parking lot there.
Oh my goodness. This show's going downhill real quick.
She's like, wait a minute, I am not a part of this.
So we get home. I barely drank anything, so we drove all the way home here and got home, and she gets undressed and she just throws her boots on the floor. Well, we just got our dog at the time, Woodrow. And Woodrow loved to chew on some leather stuff.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's a no.
So
That's a dead dog.
He chewed the top out of those leather boots.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, there's super rare Ariots to get. And you can't replace them.
Yeah.
But she still has them. She just can't wear her pants outside of them no more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's old Woodrow the whiskey dog right
Oh
there.
no.
Yep.
Woodrow was mad. He doesn't chew up a pair of my boots and a belt. And
Oh man. He was just out to get y'all.
yeah.
He's like, I'll show you leaving me to go to a concert.
Yeah.
You know,
we wouldn't even leave him in our front room for the longest time because we, leather couches and leather
Mhm.
chairs. And we were like, I always had these visions of getting home and Woodrow had chewed up the every piece of leather we had.
Oh, well, I have a husky, and he likes to do things like that too. We went on vacation to California, and we had some friends watching him, and he got mad and chewed the crown molding off our wall.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's up.
Well, I guess like the bottom part,
Oh,
whatever you put the bottom
okay.
part
I
of
thought
it.
the same thing, Jim. I was like, God
man,
dang, that's
that's
a
a
Well,
big
he
dog.
probably could actually, he's done some crazy things, but he's also one of those dogs. Like if you make him mad, like he'll look at you and then he'll go pee all over your stuff. And he knows what he's doing because he's like, shouldn't have done what you did.
He's devil dog.
He is a devil dog, but he's my big fluffy devil dog. He's so, my husband called me yesterday and he goes, you know what your dog did? It's always my dog when he's done something bad. He's like, I put him outside, gave him a bowl of water, and what'd he do? He knocks it over in front of me, looks at me, and starts rolling in it. And we just got these dog washed, okay? And it is expensive. And I'm like, well, you did something to make him mad. And he's like, just come home and get your dog. I'm like, he's our dog. Not when he's bad. He's yours. And I'm like, it's like kids. Like when kids do something wrong, I'm like, I don't know.
So what do you think about this foolproof? I'm trying to steer us back, and we've talked a lot about peeing and boots and all. I figure it's Jim's responsibility now to get this podcast back on track.
Back on track. Yeah. I love it. It's real smooth. I was not expecting it to be as smooth as it is. I'll just take another sip.
Anything else to say about the foolproof, Mike? I know it's a weeder. You don't have to say that again.
It's a weeder, man. I tell you what.
It's so weird. It's really good.
I think all bourbon should be weeded.
You think all of them should be?
Every distillery should have a weeded bourbon.
Now, I agree with that.
Well,
All right. Not all bourbon should be weeders, but all distilleries should have a weeded bourbon because they don't know what they're missing.
That's like my question when we go in a place and they don't have weeded bourbon.
And you're like,
I'm like looking around, like we're on a tour. Me and Jim are like walking around Michter's, and I was like, so where are you guys going to put that big old silo for wheat? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? We don't even make weeded bourbon. I was like, yeah, but you're going to, so you need to get that silo put in place.
they're like, I didn't know I was going to.
We had old Bruce Russell in here recording, and I said, hey, so when you become the master distiller of Wild Turkey, which doesn't make weeded bourbon, you going to make some weeded bourbon? And he was like,
That's an idea.
Where did you hear that from?
Yeah. So, yeah, weeded bourbon is a thing for me.
Do you like Michter's?
We love Michter's.
Love some Michter's. Love some
too.
toasted.
The toasted blue label.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some of that at home. It is so good.
This girl knows her whiskey.
I do. You know, what's funny is we were out in California and we go there a lot on vacation. We went to this little hole in the wall liquor store, and they had this. And I was like, it's out in the wild. You can't find this anywhere. And they don't realize what they have out there. And you're like, how much is this? And they tell you like a third of what you'd pay here. And we're like, yep, we'll take it. And we were like, how are we going to get this home? Because we didn't want to put it in our luggage and we didn't want to pay for it to ship it. So we just drank it all like the week we were there. And we were like, man, we're never going to find that again. And as soon as we got back to Nashville, we went into this other hole in the wall liquor store. And I was like, look what's on that shelf behind him. And there was another bottle.
Was it the same price though?
It wasn't the same price, but it still wasn't as expensive as like a lot of places. So we snatched it.
The
and we
bourbon
still have
gods
it.
were looking out for you. They were like, you really shouldn't have drank that bottle when you're in California. But
exactly.
We're going to get you another one.
Right? I'm going to help you out. I have an act for like finding stuff when no one else can. We'll go into a store and like I look up and down and like people are like, oh, there's nothing here. And I'm like, you didn't see that? And they're like, how did you see that? And I'm like, I looked. Like my husband's also the person who opens the fridge and is like, where's this? And it's right in front of him. And I'm like, you mean the dish that's sitting in front of you? Why are you hiding things from me? And I'm like, what?
That's just guys.
Is it a guy thing?
That's just guys.
Okay, so maybe
Except
there's
Except Mike.
Except Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe there's hope for him and he'll like, eventually grow out of that. But I always find really good stuff. And, yesterday I found quite a few bottles as well and I snatched them.
You were talking about hiding stuff in the fridge and stuff. And I made this blackberry cobbler for one of our listeners came over here the other day, a guy named Doug Keller. Doug, I know you made it safe back to Ohio, but I made this blackberry cobbler. It's pretty damn good, right, Jim?
It was good cobbler, yeah.
Well, it must have been so damn good because we had about half of it left in this container in the fridge. And I went in there looking for it. I almost almost cleaned the entire refrigerator out.
You wanted some cobbler.
I was like, man, I want to eat me some of that cobbler today. I looked all over for it. I looked for it and looked for it. And finally today I asked Viv, I said, hey, did you eat that blackberry cobbler? She's like, hee hee hee.
Yes, I did.
I was surprised that she didn't say, it's in the refrigerator. You just need to look for it.
You just missed it. You overlooked it.
Nope, it was all gone. So
hey, I like me some cobbler. I like sugar really. So like any kind of dessert, I'm all about it.
well, that had no extra sugar in it. It's just berries and cake mix. Well, I guess has sugar in it.
I like cake. That's my favorite.
I like cake.
Whenever there's like
It's like sounds like Forrest Gump right there.
I like cake. My dad's birthday was actually on Thursday, and I was like, I'm gonna bring him some cake. And I brought 3 little like bundt cakes, and then I got to his house, and his mom had made brownies, and I was like, oh, we're in heaven. Here we go. Like I'm all about the sweets, and I was like, I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna eat half of your dessert. Like I know I brought it for you, but I'm eating half of it. Like.
Well, while we were talking about all them crazy things, the Bourbon Fairy made a delivery.
You mean Faye 02 showed up?
It was a Faye, but so we've actually have Taylor's 3rd pick
Yes.
in our glass right now,
My favorite.
and this is the Knob Creek 12-year.
She's trying to get us drunk, Jim.
Let's go. It's Saturday.
She loves them blue labels.
I do.
Now
Blue
this is
my favorite color.
This is the 100 proof, and yeah, so pretty good. I would say that those are all top level picks.
Yeah, she did. She did pretty good.
Did
I'd
I do
say.
good?
Yeah.
Do I get an A?
Yeah, you get an A in that. We
Yes.
thought you were going straight Buffalo Trace, but then you
I
found
really
a-
like Buffalo Trace's line. Like there's not really anything that they put out that I don't like.
Yeah, I think when you pick an older Knob Creek whiskey as one of your chosen few, that it tells us a little bit something about you, because their whiskeys are typically very I don't know, very
aggressive.
Mhm.
oaky, deep. They're
Yeah.
they're
I'm a
not
little aggressive.
they're not necessarily smooth. You use that
Yeah.
word smooth sometimes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that normally about a Knob Creek, an older
Mhm.
Knob Creek whiskey, right?
Right.
It's more of it's got character. It's bold. It's,
Yeah. The 15's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I remember I actually tried the 15 and the 12 at the same time. And I thought, sometimes I read the tasting notes. And when I was reading the 15, I was like, oh, this sounds more like me. And I tried them and I was like, no, I want the 12. So we actually ended up giving the 15 just to somebody else. We liked it, but we were like, we love this 12.
I think if you did a blind taste on them without the age statements, hands down, the 12-year-old would just blow the 15-year-old away.
Yeah.
The problem is that so many people are fixated on that damn age.
Yep.
They're like, oh, this 15-year-old, it's 15-year-old bourbon. It's 15-year-old bourbon. I'm like,
Mhm.
stop thinking about the age, people. Stop
Just
it.
Taste it.
Shame on you for thinking about that
Shame on
age.
you. It's kind of like the Pappies. The 10-year, or the 12-year.
The Lot B.
Yeah, I think it's better than the, 22?
23-year-old.
23-year-old,
Yeah.
But I find that my husband and I have a lot of the same flavor profiles, and like we tend to like the same things, but I do like a little bit hotter.
That makes the bottle go down pretty quick when you both like it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that we can agree on, though. So there's never really a disagreement or an argument. Like when I get a phone call and he's like, I did something. And I'm like, what do you mean you did something? And he's like, I might have bought something. And I'm like, oh, well, as long as I can drink it, like, I guess it's okay.
Man, that's perfect right there.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm wifey material.
So does your wife,
This is my
does your husband have a favorite song that you sing? And you're saying he's not a country guy, but
No, he actually really likes, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. There's cover songs that I know he loves. Of original stuff, he really likes, Praying to the Whiskey. There's one I wrote before I moved to Nashville called Angel's Envy, that he likes. It's also like super depressing. But he likes that one. And I'm trying to think if there's he loves my most recent single, High on Something, because he tells everyone it's about him. So he's like, it's about me. So it's her best one. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's a really cool song because the subject is kind of, it's kind of truth, right? I mean, it is truth, right?
Yeah.
And I won't give too much away because is that one you're going to play?
I can most certainly play that one.
Wow. That's definitely one that I really like. And we were talking a little bit about whiskey and how you guys both like it, but there's a line in that song about bourbon and
like a 10-year.
10 year to, to get good.
Absolutely.
Takes 10 years to get good. That's pretty cool stuff.
Well, I always say, the older the bourbon, the better, but not in the Knob Creek sense. 12 is better than the 15, but
Yeah. I think I tend to agree with you on that. I like the 12 a lot.
Yeah.
And you particularly like the 120 proof version of that, right?
I do. I won't say no to either, but, before my vocal coach got on me about drinking while we're singing, so we won't tell her that I'm doing this right now while I'm drinking. But I used to always have a shot of the 120 proof at my shows, and I would just sip on it throughout the show, a 3-4 hour show. And by the time I was done playing, I was pretty much like ready to go. I was like, let's do this, and everyone's like, show's over. And I'm like, no, let's keep going. But yeah, I do like them. Sometimes they get a little too hot, but there's something about that 120 I really like.
That's a great whiskey. This 12 years sipping on and it used to be my palate today, but it's a little sweet on me.
It is sweeter. I think that's what I like about it is the sweet notes that I get from it.
But the barrel is ever present in this. Yep. I mean, you can definitely tell this one's been sitting in that wood for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the 120, you're like, whoo, Lord. It like smacks you, and then you're like, oh, but it's a good smack, right? It's a good wake-up call.
So can we hear High on Something?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes. This is my current single, High on Something.
Like a rushing blood to your head with the first hit of nicotine. Like an 88 Chevy burning up a tank of gasoline. Like a quick fix from a fifth when you tip it on back. Tap a buzz that comes and goes. It don't ever last, but with you, I ain't coming down. No crash and burn, ain't looking for an easy way out. And it ain't a drug, it ain't a drug. Whatever it is, it's more than enough, and I don't. But I know one thing, you got me high on something. Like the worn in leather on an old pair of boots. Like the lazy stretch of a long June afternoon. Like a 10-year bottle of bourbon. Takes time, but damn, it's worth it. Slow to build the fire. That's what keeps it burning. 'Cause with you, I ain't coming. Drug, whatever it is, it's more than enough, and I don't know much, but I know one thing, you got me high on something.
So was it about him?
It was.
Yeah, I kind of thought so.
It was. What's funny about that song is when we went into the writing room that day, a lot of the stuff I write is very sassy and edgy, and a lot of the times people are like, if you want a murder ballad, go to Taylor because she loves writing those, and what can I say? Miranda Lambert and Ashley McBride are big inspirations for me, right? But we went into the studio that day and I was like, you know what? I don't have a love song. And I typically stay away from those because they turn out super cheesy. And, my friend that I wrote it with, Stephanie Joyce, she's kind of the same way. She loves writing murder ballads and stuff. And we were like, okay, we're going to do this. And it's going to be so good that you're going to want to cut it. And I was like, all right, it's got to have that Taylor Hughes stamp on it. And we started writing and, talking about, guys we had dated in the past and different life experiences and how we felt about our husbands now that, who we're with, and how you had to date a few frogs to get to the right one. And the words just started flowing out, and she was right. I loved it so much that I decided to cut it. And we tried to do a little bit of a Chris Stapleton feel to it, but because I get a lot of inspiration for him too. And it's been doing pretty well. I actually found out it was charting down in Texas on their internet radio. It's been in the top 100. It's just been climbing ever since. I actually checked on it the other day and it was still on there. So I was pretty excited because I was like, I didn't even know they knew who I was.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, the general gist of the song is that there's bumps in the road and things can get rough, but
right.
You're still high on each other. You're still, and good things take a while. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the thing is that, a lot of love songs, there's like, it's almost like we just met and then we fell in love and then it was happy ending. It's like, that's not really how love works. That's not realistic. And, I didn't want something that was like, oh, puppy love or, oh, everything's sunshine and rainbows. I wanted something real and something, like there are these inspiration from like my parents or like, just relationships that I, was like, wow, that's what I didn't want. And this is what I have now. And put it into words and put it into a song.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's kind of like whiskey, right?
Yeah.
You want the real thing. You don't want that damn White Claw.
Absolutely. Right. Ain't nobody messing with that stuff.
Yeah. That song kind of goes with that whiskey, right? It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But White Claw, I've tried it. Have you ever tried it, Jim?
I haven't tried it. No,
it's not real.
You're not missing anything.
I've tried seltzers before, and they're just not my thing.
They're not my thing. They just taste like nasty water.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get them, you're like, ooh, mango flavor. That sounds good. And then I crack it open. I'm like, nope. And then my husband's like, don't worry, I'll drink it. I'm like, okay.
I went to Virginia to visit. The first co-host of the show lives in Virginia now, and he took us out and about to try and find some distilleries and breweries and things like that. But the only thing there is they're seltzeries. They're everywhere.
That's a thing.
And it's like, yeah, it's a thing.
I guess you could go to like a tequila place or a vodka place or the rum places. Like when you go on vacation, we did a tequila one.
Yeah.
And my husband tried to kill me in snorkeling. Yeah. We did an excursion where you could go to go to the distillery or whatever they call it for tequila, and you get to watch them make tequila and you get to sample it. And then you get to go snorkeling. I didn't want to have anything to do with the snorkeling. I'm not a strong swimmer. I'll get in the water and I'll doggy paddle, but like, I'm not trying to go down with the fish and stuff. And this was on our honeymoon. He was like, it's going to be great. And I got in the water and I had a panic attack and he had to drag me the entire time. And he's like, babe, look at these fish. And I'm like, I'm going to die. This is how I leave. Just take me back to the tacos and the tequila. It was so bad.
Yeah. I think too much tequila and snorkeling, they don't sound,
oh no, it's
they don't
dangerous.
sound compatible.
No, like just keep me on land. I'm not trying to go where the sharks live. That is their home. I don't want to be shark food. I'm not about it.
Yeah. So you're going to be at Bourbon on the Banks, right?
Yes.
Are you pretty excited about playing that?
So excited. I've actually been really interested in this event for a while. And I'm like, we got to get in there. I don't know if they have music, but there's going to be. If they don't have it, we're going to ask them to do it. So, when we scored the opportunity to play the after party, I was like, I'm so there. I'm so excited. Like there's, I live down in Nashville and I absolutely love it. There's no other place like it, but there's something about coming back home to play for other, for my hometown and stuff like that, and to see familiar faces and to even meet new people and do things like this that makes it just really special.
Over 2,000 whiskey drinkers going to be there.
Absolutely. It's going to be great.
They'll have been sampled from over 53 distilleries.
There better be some food there.
There can be no whiskey left, I don't think.
Absolutely not. Everyone needs to have a snack at all times, and
there'll be a little bit of whiskey left over. I mean, we dished out some whiskey last year,
just a little bit. And we're going to have a little bit left over. Though. We're going to have better bottles this year.
Yeah.
So is it like, what do you all do? Do you like bring like your own personal favorites, or do you like team up with a distillery and they're like, here, we want you to serve this?
We do have a sponsor. Which is Leapers Fork Distillery down in Tennessee.
And they'll be pouring from her tent.
Yeah, they'll be pouring. We have our own Bourbon Road lounge.
Right.
But
I'm going to have to check out this lounge.
We still are in discussion about whether we're going to have a barrel pick or not.
We may have a barrel pick. We will definitely have the roadie bar, though.
Well, yeah, we got a roadie bar that we bring this year. I think we had 20 bottles last year. We didn't come home with any whiskey. So I think we're going to bring a little bit more this time.
Yeah.
Those bottles that have been on the show, we want to bring them and share them with our listeners. We got old Britt Mack in the house right now with her man, Matt. But she was there and got to experience it last year, and it's one hell of an event.
I'm sure. I mean, does it get better than like an event dedicated to bourbon and whiskey? Like, I can't think of anything else that
the only thing that would make it better, Taylor, is everybody going to see you after.
Oh yes, you need that in your life,
right?
You need some Taylor Hughes in your life, y'all.
And if you could just look out in the crowd, and everybody out in the crowd was wearing a T-shirt that said "Bourbon Bullshitter" on it.
Oh yeah, I think I need a T-shirt like that.
Be a pretty perfect event, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
I think we can probably make that happen.
Do it. Be like, you can't come into the show unless you have this shirt. Then everyone's like, I got to have a shirt. I need to be a part of this party. Like, everyone's going to want to do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a great time. We have such a wonderful time, and such a large number of roadies turn out, and that's great. Our roadies, by the way, I don't know if you're familiar. Our roadies are, I don't know. I don't like calling them fans. I like calling them listeners. They're our listeners.
Listeners, and I like their family almost. It's like our guest. Every guest to me becomes a family member, and it's like, hey, I met this person. They come to my house or come to Jim's house, and they play music for us or drink whiskey with us, and that's the way you meet people, and you get to face and honesty, and
eat some good barbecue.
Eat brisket and pulled pork.
Yeah, you said food, and I was like, yes, I'm there.
Well, like I said, if you leave here hungry, then something's wrong with you.
I'm easy to please. If there's ever like food somewhere, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm there. Count me in.
Well, you make sure when you're walking around that day before the after party, when you're just hanging out and having a good time, you stop by the Bourbon Road Lounge.
I'll just hang out there.
Say hey to us, and
she can just bring her guitar for a little bit.
I'll do some mariachi style stuff. I'll go around to every person and just sing.
No, I mean, we would love that, but I just want you to have a good time. So feel free to just show up and hang out and drink a little whiskey with us.
Now, is your mom and dad, are they going to go to Bourbon on the Banks too?
Absolutely. They're kind of the posse. My mama's my number one fan, and the dad he's the bodyguard, and occasionally the bank and the sound system and or the sound guy and the booking agent and the manager and all that stuff. I've been very, very blessed to not only have their support, but to have their help in doing this and chasing me all over the country playing and helping me do all the things. And so, yeah, they'll definitely be there. And my dad's going to be there. There's bourbon. Like,
man, Taylor, it's been great having you on. But you know how we like to do it. We like to do some giveaways for our listeners and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I would like to do something kind of with your song Praying on a Whiskey. And you said you had a shirt.
I do. I have lyric T-shirts.
What's it say on it?
It says, Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, those four apostles jaded my soul. And then it's got a little whiskey glass on it.
So you think one of our listeners could get one of those shirts right there?
Absolutely. And it's going to be their favorite T-shirt they own. It's so soft.
And Jim and I will go ahead and we'll do a sample of each one of those whiskeys
All
to pair with it. Not only will we do that, but I'll put 3 extra samples in there of the 3 whiskeys we drink on this show.
7 samples.
Wow. Can I win this?
No, you're going to be wearing the Bourbon Bullshitter t-shirt.
I'm so pumped about this shirt. Like, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty amazing giveaway.
So how do they win it, Mike?
So, you know what we always do. From the time we do the post on Instagram in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, because that's what time I got to go to bed. I went to 10 o'clock last week, Jim.
Yeah.
I was suffering.
Yeah, it's not good. It's got to be 9 o'clock for Mike, and it's the day of the release of this episode.
Yeah. So, you know, you got to be 21. You got to reside in the United States. We need you to follow Taylor Hughes Music on Instagram. Obviously, you follow us in the comments. What we need you to do is tag 3 people and hashtag
Taylor Hughes Music.
Awesome.
Yeah. Taylor Hughes Music. Tag 3 people. 9 o'clock at night, I will announce the winner to this. Enter as many times as you want. If you want to enter 1,000 times, tag 1,000 different people. Just don't tag me. Don't tag Big Chief. Man, Jim, you know
you're a freebie, man. They figured it out. Well,
Jesus criminies, man. I get tagged in so many dang giveaways. I'm like, man.
Well, that's pretty easy. So they get a Taylor Hughes t-shirt. They get 7 samples. So they get the 4 whiskeys on the t-shirt, plus they get the 3 samples from the show.
That's like an entire bottle of whiskey.
That's pretty awesome.
That sounds like a good night that you're going to have when you get all this stuff.
Well, you don't want to miss this one. You definitely need to get in on it. Definitely, without a doubt. Taylor, how can people find out more about you, where you're going to be, what you're doing, what your new songs are? Where are you? Where do people find out more about
I'm
you?
everywhere. No, if you, I'm on all the socials, but I do have a website. It's taylorhughesmusic.com. If you go subscribe to that, I send out a monthly newsletter. It's the only thing I'll send out. I won't like blow up your inbox unless there's something super exciting going on, but it's got my full tour schedule on there. It also has all my social media. So you just click on it and it'll take you to, all of my socials. So like Instagram is Taylor Hughes Music, Facebook, Taylor Hughes Music, my YouTube channel is on there, TikTok, all that stuff. You can buy merchandise through there. I send out in all my monthly newsletters, there's always a little reminder, hey, shoot me an email, send me a DM, whatever way you want to contact me, and we'll get you a t-shirt. They're only $25. And like I said, they're super soft. But yeah, if you just go to that website or just go to any of my socials, you can also find all my music on any streaming or download platform. So iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon. I've heard it all. People have found my music everywhere. So if you guys go do that, I'd be greatly appreciative of it.
Well, that's so awesome. And thank you for being on the show. You've been a great guest.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure drinking whiskey with you. I think you picked some really, really good ones.
I hope you think I know something about,
I think you've proven yourself.
I am now worthy.
You've earned your stripes.
She definitely put truth to that praying on the whiskey song.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, where can people find us on the internet?
Well, you can find us at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you can find us. Our main place, though, is on Facebook, the Bourbon Roadies. We're almost 3,000 people in there, Jim. 3 easy rules to get in there and join. Are you 21? Because that's what you got to do to be able to drink some bourbon in the United States. Do you like bourbon? Hell, everybody likes bourbon, right, Jim?
They do.
If you don't, you're wrong.
There you go. If you don't, you're wrong.
If you like White Claws, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
We don't tolerate any rudeness in that group, meaning if you drink from the very bottom of the shelf, some old 10 high, all the way to the top of the shelf, maybe some George T. Stagg there, Jim. We want you to celebrate that whiskey. We want you to celebrate life. We want you to celebrate retirements. We want to celebrate birthdays, whatever you're celebrating in life. Even if you have a family member or a friend that passes away, we want you to raise a glass to them and celebrate that.
Absolutely. We do 2 shows every single week. On Mondays, we do a craft distillery episode. We call it our Craft Distillery Monday episode. We'll have a single expression on from a craft distillery that's doing it right. Mike and I will taste it. We'll talk about it. We'll let you know whether you should add that to your bar. I think we're pretty spot on. I think we've got some good ones on there. Every Wednesday, we'll do a full-length episode like today's with Taylor Hughes. We'll drink a couple of whiskeys. We drank 3 today. We'll drink a few whiskeys. We'll have great conversation. We'll get in depth. We'll have some music in the case of today's show. Mike, what can they do to make sure they don't miss a single episode of the Bourbon Road?
Well, you want to go up to the top of that app, hit that check sign, that plus sign, that subscribe sign. Go ahead and make sure your app tells you, hey, these two jokers have a show that's out today and you need to listen to it. It'll get you to working back, like Jim said. Then you need to scroll on down, hit that 5-star review, leave us some comments because you know what's going to happen if you don't. The big bad booty daddy of bourbon is going to roll over to your house with some Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow playing some Taylor Hughes music. By the end of the night, you're going to have a big old smile on your face. You're going to leave us that 5-star review in those comments. But seriously, those comments, those reviews open up the doors to distilleries to us, get great guests on our show like Taylor Hughes here. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Mike and I are very approachable. You see us in town, you see us at a liquor store, you see us at an event, you see us at Bourbon on the Banks. Make sure you come up and say hey to us. Have a drink with us. Introduce yourself. Let us know what led you to bourbon. We'd love to hear your story. You can always reach out to us. If you've got an idea for a show or you got a guest you think would be a good match for the Bourbon Road, make sure you let us know. Get on our website. Hit that contact us page. Send us a message. We'll get back with you. You can always send us an email. I'm Jim at thebourbonroad.com. He's Mike at thebourbonroad.com. But like we always say, probably the best way. Slip into our DMs on Instagram. I'm JShannon63.
I'm Big Bourbon Chief.
And we'll see you down
the Bourbon Road.
Mama told me when I was young, come sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say, and if into this it'll help some sunny day. So take your time, don't live too fast. Troubles will come and they will pass. Go find a woman, you'll find love. But don't forget there's someone up above, and there's still all kind of friend. There's something love and understand, and there's still all kind of friend. Won't you do this for me, son?